See, life is such a beautiful thing, and I feel like we miss it, right? We miss that. We don't see that, right? We get so caught up in, all these other expectations, right? We're constantly comparing ourselves to, things that God didn't really intend to have that much influence over our decision-making process, right? Like, we have to be so objective all the time, right? Ready to learn new things, right? Ready to really ask myself, right? And I'm speaking to myself here. Is the decision I'm making right now based off of my environment, right? Is the conclusion I've come to, right? No matter what it is I'm going through, if it's a trade, if it's any decision, right? It could be something as little as what I'm gonna wear today, or it could be something as big as, do I want to sacrifice all my work that I've put in on a project, right? Like, or is it, do I want to go long or short or sit on the sideline, right? It doesn't matter which decision you're making. What matters is what's influencing you to come to the conclusion you're coming to pull the trigger and make the decision you're about to make, right? Trading really opened this concept up to me, right? Objectivity and being completely aware of my surroundings and being okay, right? Like, based on statistics, right? And past data, right? I'm gonna come to this conclusion and make this decision regardless to how I'm feeling, right? Like, that was a big one for me, right? Because I used to day trade, and I would constantly try to take a specific strategy that just wasn't really working for me, right? I wasn't executing it properly. But in the past, it would work, right? Every once in a while, you would get, a winning trade. And that's the thing about trading. Day trading, you can literally do nothing other than click a buy button and find yourself in a winning scenario, right? A winning position. So any sort of game like that, right, where it takes literally no effort, it's I don't want to call it luck, right? But it's just the environment you're in, that you can literally press buy and end up in a winning trade with no analysis put into it, with no understanding of the market, the conditions, the auction, right? Nothing. You could literally just press buy and by chance end up in a profitable scenario. And when you make money, right, this is where it gets tricky. When you actually make money, right, you're now linking, right, randomness to, oh, I did something correctly, right? Your brain is literally constantly creating habits, right? And then the outcomes of those habits will either make you feel good or bad, right? So think about that. Day trading literally puts you in an environment where you don't have to do anything to find yourself in a winning trade other than click buy, right? Straight from Mark Douglas. I didn't come up with that. I took that from Mark Douglas, and now I'm running with it, right? Because think about it. This environment, right, with all these different variables and scenarios and conditions, right? We literally condition ourselves, right, to start to expect certain outcomes based off certain behaviors, right? So we have to become extremely objective and aware to what behaviors we're actually doing and what are the results of those behaviors. Input, output, right? Return on investment, right? And I'm not talking about P&L. I'm talking about when I behave this way, how many times does it work for me? How often, right? What's the statistical reliability, right? And is this something I would like to repeat, right? And this is when I start to ask myself, right? You guys hear me talk about this in my videos all the time. Is this behavior serving me, right? I got really specific with my entry criteria, right? Because all too often we'll think we're actually trading a strategy properly and let's just say you see your strategy, you hesitate, you want a little more evidence before pulling the trigger, whatever it may be, and then you do that, right? You wait, you're hesitating, and then you finally pull the trigger, and then you catch the bottom quarter of the move, and you make money and you get out really quick. See, now you're actually rewarding yourself with the PNL, with the endorphins that come from a winning trade, but you're rewarding bad behavior. You're programming your mind. You're conditioning yourself to think hesitation actually works. This has happened to me, right? I was literally stuck in what I call analysis paralysis for about a year, where I would overanalyze every single trade I took. I thought being patient, right? I thought that was being patient. In reality, I was just extremely hesitant, and there's a difference there, right? So really becoming objective while logging your trades and figuring out which behaviors are actually serving me, right? Is hesitation actually serving me in the sense, right? And to get really clear, we have to figure out what it is, what our real goal is, right? Is our goal to feel good today? Is our goal to have a green day? Or is it our goal to make consistent money, right? Having a green day and making consistent money, I don't think we have to argue this, but there is a clear difference there, right? It is not your goal to have a green day every day. Yes, that would be nice, but it's our goal to make consistent returns from the market, right? So to do this in an environment like that, we have to make some sacrifices, right? We have to build some systems, right? Guys, real quick, look at how sick the sky looks right here. Dude, that's crazy, right? And people really think there's not a God of the universe that created all this. I mean, look at this. It's insane. All right. So we have to become extremely objective, right? We have to learn to really become intentional, right? Like, I'm not gonna, I coach a lot of traders, right? And they'll be like, hey, Josh, I have a discipline problem. I need to become more disciplined, right? And I always ask them, I tell them, it's not a discipline problem. It's an awareness problem, right? Because I used to think the same thing, right? I used to think I needed to become more disciplined. I needed to become more, structured. And the conclusion I came to was I didn't need to become more disciplined. I needed to become more aware to what actually works, right? And I'm going to put a little simple analogy here to help you understand this, right? See, tomorrow morning, you're not going to get in your car and drive on the wrong side of the road. It's just not going to happen, right? There's a very low chance that you're going to decide, hey, today's the day I drive on the wrong side of the road into oncoming traffic, actually believing that driving on the wrong side of the road is going to serve you, right? See, you're not going to do that for a few reasons, but the number one reason is that behavior won't serve you. It doesn't make sense to drive on the wrong side of the road, right? It doesn't make sense to get in your car when you're in a rush and go, hey, I need to get to work right now. And the best way to do that is by driving on the wrong side of the road. See, there's not a scenario in the universe that makes sense, right? So you're not going to do it, right? Key. Bring it back to trading, right? When it comes to FOMO, chasing trades, and all those negative trading behaviors that we implement in our beginning years as a trader, you have to ask yourself, why do you think those behaviors serve you, right? Why do you think chasing a trend that's way extended from moving averages, etc., right? Or jumping into a trade because the move's happening and you don't want to miss it, or here's the big one, not stomping out of losing positions, right? Why? You have to literally become very clear and understand, why do you think these behaviors actually serve you? And if you can debunk the belief that you have in your mind about these behaviors, right? And I'm going to get real specific here, right? You have to figure out why you think holding on to a losing position helps your equity curve. You have to become very clear on what your goal is. Is our goal to make money today? is our goal to make money over a consistent period of time. And then you have to get very clear, right, on the difference between those. That's what I had to do. I literally had to write out pros and cons, become extremely clear on the difference between making money today and making money over a consistent period of time, right? And I had to really dive deep into the behaviors it's gonna take, the habits I need to create if I want to obtain that goal, right? And you can use this philosophy through any scenario in life, right? But the only way it works is you have to become extremely self-critical, right? You have to have supreme accountability, right? And that's what our team's all about, is building that accountability. And then you need to be able to build the system, right? And actually implement the system so that you can start to see the input and the output.